Hi, my name is Emily. I'm a faithful follower of Christ. Is that what I usually say? I haven't made a video in a while. Hi, my name is Emily and I'm a faithful follower of Christ. And I'm addicted to, that's what it is. That's the Celebrate Recovery intro. Hello, welcome new subscribers. I thought there might be a couple of you. And if you're not here long, I understand there's not a ton going on over around here. I don't post very often or very regularly and rural are a couple of my least favorite words. I think they're hard to say. Speaking of rural, I'm out here, I'll show you. I'm out here at this farm. I'm about to walk down that path and turn left, and then it'll be wide open country to get some steps. Okay, the title of this video: if you want to change your body, you have to change your behavior. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm changing my behaviors, and I'm going to share with you what I'm currently doing for the heck of it, for the fun of it. I thought about making some nice long video after I did this for a year. That's always my thinking. I'm going to do something for a year, and then I'll share about the awesome results. But then I'm like, no, where's the fun in that? Let's do this together. So I'll go ahead and share now what I'm doing. And like I say on my channel, life's a process. Let's process it together. So I'm in the midst of a process, living this human life. So are you. So I'm going to share the things I'm doing right now to change my behavior that I trust is changing my body. I can tell it is. Hallelujah. But welcome new subscribers. And if you've already been here for a while, I'm going to link below a video on Violet Reveira's channel. She interviewed me. Thank you, Violet. That was so much fun. And you are so super talented with editing and all that at the beginning when you like took little clips and put work. Girl, that takes time, and it would take a learning curve for me that I am just a learning hill I'm not willing to climb. So I actually thought about making this video, and then like at the bottom as I listed each thing that I'm doing to change my behavior, like putting it number 1, words. Just imagine that. Just imagine words right here. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go back and edit. In fact, I don't even know how many things I'm about to list. So when I'm finished with this, I'll go add that to the title. And the title will be, if you want to change your behavior, if you want to change your body, you've got to change your behavior. Here's 17, I don't know, 8, 11. Here's a bunch of things. Here's how many things I've changed lately. I don't even know how many I'm about to tell you, but they are working. That's why I want to share. Also, like I said, I did that interview. I will link below the video on Violet Reveira's channel, The Road to Health Keto Done Right. Violet is brilliant, and she has changed her life, and she's doing so much to help other people change theirs. So hello, wellness warriors. It was such a joy chatting with Violet. She is really a gem. And I'm glad you all have her and she has you, and you all just welcomed me right in to say hello. So, okay, if we want to change our bodies, we have to change our behaviors. Here's what's working for me currently. Some morning routines, some daily focuses, and then evening routines, just habit stacking the heck out of my life. Just one thing. You know, if you want to add something to your daily routine, find something you've already established and attach it to that, so that you can sort of, makes me think of like riding the wave, you know, getting in that wake behind a boat. You know, it's like you can ride the wave, or like a car that gets up behind a semi and kind of take advantage of the aerodynamics of the semi and not have to push through the wind, or the geese flying overhead. There's one breaking the wind and the rest are behind him for a while. So if you've already got something in your day that is established, like a meal or a certain time of day you do something, go ahead and tie right in there something else you want to do. Add it to that. Let it piggyback off of that. That's how you habit stack. That's how you get a lot done. And that's how you can build what I described the other day to my husband as a Groundhog Day that I just want to repeat. I said, oh my goodness, I'm feeling so good lately, and things are getting in such good order. I said, I feel like I'm creating some kind of Groundhog Day that I just want to wake up and press repeat over and over. Let's do this again and again and again. So here's the first 3. Well, let's say the first 5. I wake up with my husband and we have started a morning routine where we pray and then read a devotional. And the one we're currently reading is Gary Chapman, the Love Language devotional. It's just little 1-minute devotionals, but that's how we start our day. We start our day praying together and reading that devotional. And if he has to run out the door to load cattle, or I have to run out the door to take kids somewhere, then I will take that book with me and I'll read it to him somewhere during the day. But those 2 things, that's how we start the day. And it's just a great way to be a united front from the beginning. Okay, after that, I make sure to have the bed made. That's new for me. Read the Bible for 5 minutes, drink my water with electrolytes, and iodine. Beyond that, I am eating meat, drinking water, and I've cut dairy for the moment. No dairy. I had to red light dairy. I had to put it in the red zone. I found myself in the dairy the way I used to be in the cheese, and I started feeling really, really bad. So I got myself up out of that dairy. Here's a couple other things I'm doing right now. Focusing on different types of self-care, like oral hygiene. Thank you, my friend Jill, for introducing me to oil pulling, water picking, and my new Oral-B toothbrush. So I share all this just to say that, like I talked about in that video with Violet, when we're dealing with addiction, we have to carve out new neural pathways. We have to introduce newness in our lives, because the raging rivers of the default paths that we have reinforced over and over and over and over and over, we can get them to dry up, but the water wants to run where it's always run. It wants to go back through those pathways, through those neural pathways. So we've got to light our brains doing new things. So oil pulling, water picking, these are all great, and trust me, as a carnivore, they are a winner. I have been recording my calories, but after I water pick, I wonder if I shouldn't go back and say, never mind, I didn't eat 10 ounces of meat, I ate 9.5 because of what all I'm able to get out of my teeth. If you're a carnivore, I highly recommend water picking. Okay, but I'm really making this video because of, these are things I've been doing for a while. Those are all working really, really, really well. They are staples in my day. They're the foundation. God is a God of order. 1 Corinthians 33, 14, and 40, that he wants us to do everything in an orderly fashion, and that he's a God of order, not disorder. So when we have order in our lives, and we get our homes in order, and we get our bodies in order, we can then go from there, and he calls us to go. Matthew 28, 18 through 20, the Great Commission, to go, therefore, and make disciples. There's my husband. I'll make this quick because he is on a 4-wheeler. I don't know what he needs. Okay. If he calls back, I'll answer it. Hang on, Greg. I was meticulously counting my calories. Not anymore. Now I'm writing them down in a journal. So old school. I love it so much. I can hardly tell you how much I love just writing it down. And what I've been doing is in the very back, I've been making my own little menu of all the things that I have been eating, just how much 1 ounce is of each one. Minute steak, pork rinds, sausage patties, sirloin tip roast, bacon, beef farm roast, chuck roast. Today I had half a rack of ribs and pulled pork. So I just put all this in here per ounce. I can do the math easily. What I do here is I go ahead and start writing it down, and I just add it up, and it's so wonderful. You guys, I'm gonna have to touch on this lightly because I feel like I need to make this quick, but There's really something to be said for putting pen to paper. It's old-fashioned. I'm also counting my steps, and I have a step goal every day. So I am just giving myself a good old 2,000 calories a day. I did my TDEE and I came up with 1,800, but I felt like I was starving on 1,800, and I am pretty active. So I'm giving myself a good old somewhere in the 2,000 calorie range, which means honestly anywhere between 1,000 and 3,000. I'm just not worried about it. But like I said in that video before, I am no longer addicted to weighing, and I weigh, like, honestly, it's more like once a month now, because I don't care about that number so much. It can't tell me all the things I want to know, like how do I look and how do my jeans feel, and I can tell those in other ways pretty easily. Okay, so I'm counting my steps. Here's this little $9 one, little pedometer. I clip it on. I don't do smartwatches. This one is, I think it's pretty smart. It can tell time. That's pretty smart. But I'm over it. I'm tired of all things that we have to charge, and all things that we have to connect, and all things that we have to, I'm over it. I want the simplicity of something that just takes a battery. Plus, if I have my step counter on my wrist, then I cannot walk on my walking pad and put tabs and Bibles and get any steps, because I have to be swinging my arms if it's on my wrist. So, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing a little nerdy thing. I'm walking with 2 pedometers today to test these out. These are both off Amazon. One's about 10 bucks, one's about 25. Just nerdy McNerd over here, walking around, testing pedometers. Okay, but here's my step goal. My step goal is currently, today actually, my goal is to get 8,210 steps. Why? Because I'm working my way up to 10,000. So I laid in bed one night and crunched numbers. 365 times 5 is 1,125, I think, something like that. I took that off of 10,000, so I thought I'm going to start today and add 5 steps every single day for a year. Get it? So I'm gradually making my way to 10,000 steps a day, which the funny thing is I've jumped in with both feet because I'm already 80% of my goal, starting at 8,000. But it's a mental thing, I'm telling you. Some people say it's 80% diet, 20% exercise. I think it's 99% psychology, 0.8% diet, 0.2% exercise. Just kidding. But in all seriousness, if we want to change our bodies, we've got to change our behavior. And if we want to change our behaviors, we got to make it fun and interesting. We got to get these horses to move. We got to have a dangling carrot that is enticing enough to move towards. There's my husband. I'll answer it. He's so sweet. He was just calling to see if I got some water. I did. I got some water. Hallelujah. It's hot out here. Kentucky, humid. I love it. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to string these together and I'll add music. And that is as edity as I get. Okay. So if we want to change our behaviors, if we want to modify our behaviors, we've got to want to change. Because we both know we don't have to. You don't have to do anything. You can suffer through the cons if the pros outweigh them. But the pros of sugar finally outweighed the cons. And the pros of dairy finally outweighed the... The cons of sugar finally outweighed the pros. And the cons of dairy finally outweigh the pros. And there are pros, let's be real. But ultimately, if they're not worth it, then we want to make a change. And here's one way I'm doing that gradually. So I want to get up to 10,000 steps, but honestly, this is just a fun way for me to get myself to move. Cute, colorful. I bought a bunch of these actually, several different colors. I'm gonna have a little basket of pedometers in my bathroom and pull one out every day. This one gives me 500 more steps than this one does, as far as I can tell. So he's gonna be my backup. I'm gonna leave this one in my car and go with the one that pushes me a little harder. Okay. I'm counting my calories. I do want to eat in a range, somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 a day. The other thing I'm doing, and I'll link below, but I am totally convinced, and I'll show you here and then we'll just start walking. Okay, one thing I do is I write down every day the sunset. So today the sun's gonna set at 8:03. I wanna be done eating 15 minutes before that, that'd be 7:48. There's my steps. My goal is 8210, and we'll see how many I get. So like, for instance, yesterday my goal was 8205. I got 8624. 8200, I got 8803. Now honestly I got more than that, but once I hit my goal, I look down and I see I've hit it, I just take that thing off because the rest is bonus. I don't even care. But each day I write down the sunset, all right? Then I write down all my food, and I come down here and I say, here's my total calories. That day I had 1990, and I was done by 7:15. And then I text all of this to a friend for accountability, so that I know someone other than myself will lay eyes on this. All right, the reason I am aiming to be done eating, I want to be finished eating before the sun sets every day, is because of what I heard Candy Frazier. Okay, let's go. Whew, I'm feeling a lot better. Candy Frazier talk about in a video. She was being interviewed by Dr. Kiltz. Okay. Anyways, she talked about eating with the right circadian rhythm, with our hormones. People think this is calories in, calories out. Yes, and a big fat no. Yes, it's calories in, calories out. But your body's not going to run optimally if you fill it full of worthless calories. Beef has every vitamin you need except vitamin D. I'm getting that right now from the sunshine. So beef, yes. Skittles, not so much. So I could eat 500 calories worth of beef and my body would thank me. 500 calories worth of Skittles and my body would be searching for nutrition. But the other huge part of all this weight loss and metabolic health is hormonal. It's hormonal. Jill, you with me? Can I get an amen? So hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, leptin, ghrelin. So these hormones that are very necessary and cause us to thrive and stay alive and stay safe and get into the sympathetic state when we need to be, like fight, flight, or freeze. They're so important. But while they're pumping through our bodies, we are in fat storage mode. Cortisol is one of these. Cortisol spikes naturally in the morning when the sun comes up. So our body's like, oh, time to wake up. This is why you don't want to be on your phone late at night sending the message to yourself that it's noon in June with that blue light, because you're going to be sporking cortisol at night when you want melatonin to be being released so that our bodies can function. And I truly believe that the creator of the universe, that created us, is so brilliant beyond what we can imagine. Look at this. Speaking of brilliant, it's so beautiful out here. Every time I walk out here by myself, I do think, what would I do if I looked over and saw a lion running towards me? I don't know, it's just, what is that, agoraphobia, where you're afraid of being out? It's like opposite of claustrophobia. I don't know, but I don't hear of many lion sightings in Kentucky, so I'm not too worried. But the God of the universe that created the heavens and the earth, that hung the stars and the moon, told them to stay put, also created us in his image. I have no doubt his intention was and is for it to all work together. I'm also going to link below a video I recently watched about grounding and earthing, and it makes so much sense that we want to be touching the ground so that we're literally grounded. Oh, let's see, I got to open a gate. Okay, so we want to be grounded, and that, I mean that literally, like just how an electrician would mean it. I don't know much about all that, but I'm learning. Hang on. Okay, it's so bright out. My screen is like black, but I think I'm there. Are you there? Are you still with me? Okay, so if our feet are touching the ground, I'll link below. Let Clint Oden tell you all about it, not me. But when we touch the ground, we're grounded, which means that the free radicals flowing through our body can then be neutralized because we are electrical beings. What? How? In the decades of schooling that I received, did I never once, maybe somebody told me I wasn't paying attention, but how did I not know that everything's electrical? Anyways, so it all works together. So it makes good sense that if the Lord's going to have it be dark at night, this is when we should be resting and sleeping and preparing for the daylight. And when we wake up in the morning, is that wind annoying? When we wake up in the morning, our cortisol is spiked. When our cortisol is spiked, we're in fat storage mode. When our insulin is spiked, we're in fat storage mode. When our cortisol plus our insulin are spiked, you get the point. I'm no scientist, but this is when we're storing fat, not burning fat. If we wake up and there's a natural spike in our cortisol, it makes sense that that would be when we would go ahead and eat, because the cortisol is already spiked anyways. If we eat all day and all night, well then our insulin's spiked around the clock. So when can our body get into that parasympathetic state, rest and digest, and feel confident enough to burn fuel, to burn fat, and metabolize? So I'm currently starting the day with Greg, starting the day with order, starting the day with electrolytes, eating meat, drinking water. I'm interested in other forms of self-care, like Epsom salt baths and detoxing with castor oil and those types of things. All this newness, all this path, it's all headed in the right direction, which is exactly how I feel right now walking down this road. But the reason I went ahead and made this video is because I wanted to tell you all about the gradual steps I'm earning daily, the calorie range I'm allowing myself to be in. I'm not worrying about metabolic resets right now at the moment. I don't want to reset something until I've set it. I know there's a lot of carnivores that are doing all sorts of stuff. I'll get there eventually, but I'm not there yet, so I need to establish some new habits. I need to establish something before I tweak it or refine it. That's like taking a house that's just been framed and stressing about what color the shingles are. It's not time for that. Or a cake. It just came out of the oven with no icing and stressing about the piping. It's not time for that. A blob of clay and thinking this is someday going to be a cat. Where are the whiskers? Okay, we'll get there. Right now it's just a big blob. Make the cat first, and then you can add whiskers. You get my point. You get my point. So Jill, my friend Jill and I talk about this a lot. We will establish healthy habits and get into new routines and then continue to refine as we go. So for now, I'm happy to just shoot for somewhere around 2,000 calories, and I'm really glad to have tracked using apps to give me a real good idea of not only how many calories are in what foods, but it also helped me to realize I feel a lot better on higher fat. So I can just know that now. I'm not working out the percentages. I don't know every day what percentage my fat to protein ratio is, but if I'm feeling low on energy, I know I probably need to up my fat. But it's also nice to just know which websites or where to go to find out how many calories are in this or that. And then I'm just writing down in the back of my journal, you saw that, my own little personalized menu of the things I probably eat over and over. And then I'm also happy to show that every day I write down the sunset. What I think is neat about that is that every day it's a couple minutes different, which, like carrying a pig up a hill, I will gradually get to eat until about 8 or 8:30 or 8:45 when the sun is up until 9, and then I will gradually head the other direction. And I'm glad that's not going to happen overnight when I have to be finished eating by like 4:15 because it gets dark at 4:30 in the wintertime, but that's going to happen gradually, a couple minutes at a time. So I'm going to carry this pig up a hill and then I'll carry it back down. And I will keep myself eating in daylight so that my insulin is only spiked during daylight hours. Plus, and this is a big one, I used to be a major nighttime binger. So for me to take eating as an option off the table, literally, I get the eating over with, done by 6:30 or 7 every day, and then it's like, okay, now what do I want to do? Well, how about take a bubble bath, put on pajamas, play a game with my kids, go for a walk. That's what I've been doing, because a lot of times by the evening I still only have 2,000 of my 8,000 steps. So I grab a couple of my kids and we go outside and walk. I think that's probably ideal. Like the best thing you could possibly do after dinner is go for a walk. But my point is, it used to be, well, it's getting dark out. What do we want to do? Eat. That's all we ever wanted to do. Eat. And it was like, what should we eat and where should we eat it? You want to eat Mexican food in a booth or pizza on our couch? I don't know. It sounded pretty good, but now it just sounds like the old way that got me somewhere I didn't want to be. If I could be in a fit, healthy body and feel fantastic, I would eat pizza and marshmallow cream, peanut butter covered in chocolate, Dairy Queen cakes and Dairy Queen blizzards. But I can't. I cannot have my cake and eat it too. It's one or the other. And that's okay. All right, let's end on this note. Beautiful countryside, and I hear a four-wheeler coming, so this might be my knight in shining armor. You guys, it's been nice chatting. If you want to change your body, you've got to change your behavior. And those are a few things I'm doing to change mine. I love you dearly. We'll talk again soon. Bye. Okay, I'm editing this video now. You'll see I did add words. I've got my little earbuds in. Oh, this is almost too much tech for this nice outdoor walk, but I'm about finished, so that's good. And when I was talking about hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, leptin and ghrelin are big. Leptin is the hormone that tells us that we're full. Ghrelin is the hormone that tells us that we're hungry. And when we don't eat the right foods, so it's not just the nutritional value, but it's the effect that they have on us. It's not just their lack of vitamins. It's the fact that they block and cause us to become leptin resistant. So I've heard that people that are obese, morbidly obese, probably moderately obese, like most of us are. By the way, I got a nightgown in the mail the other day and it said USA large, UK extra large, and some other country it'd be a 2X. And I thought, isn't that funny? Americans were so overweight And we just trick ourselves into thinking we're average, and the rest of the world is like, I'm not so sure about that. But it works because I'm like, oh, look at me wearing a large, I'm so small. When really in another country, I would not be wearing that size. Anyways, somebody can be really overweight and then eat a meal. And because their leptin is not working, it's not telling their brain that they're full, they can actually be hungrier halfway through the meal, or even hungrier than that when the meal's completely over. And I remember that. I remember eating a complete meal at a Mexican restaurant and leaving there like, where are we gonna go now? And I know that sounds crazy, but you and I both know, most of us say, hey, now how about dessert? So it's like you've just eaten and you wanna eat and eat and eat more, because the leptin is not working. It's not, our body cannot communicate with our brain when our brain has been hijacked by these drugs. And sugar is a drug. It's a dose-dependent hepatotoxin. So it affects our brain and causes us to not be able to function properly. So then ghrelin at night kicks in, usually, the hunger hormone, telling us we're hungry at times when we don't want to be or need to be. Maybe back in the day when there was a threat of starvation, there's not now, not in 2024, Southwest Kentucky. Nobody I know is starving. That's all. I just wanted to add that. That was my final PS. Okay, I'm gonna make my way back over here. It's been nice chatting. It's a beautiful day. I've got 2,500, maybe 3,000 steps. Lots more walking to do, and some kids that want to go to the pool. Goodbye, I love you. Mwah. We'll talk again soon. I'm out.